And not that we never saw her again, but like we didn't see her for a while. And it was like once her grades came up and she was doing good again, she came right in and shut that down. And I think like she used to feel like I guess whatever hold or whatever bond or whatever idea of what she wanted her child to look like and act like was getting taken away or torn down. Like, I don't know. This is my opinion. This is from my perspective. She can fucking make a video of her own. She can feel how the fuck she want to feel. Like, I really don't care. I gave her to God when all this started. Matter of fact, I gave her to Dante because she's done a lot of dumb shit. So yeah, I think my breaking point was when Dante had work release. His daughter was staying with us. He begged me. He literally begged me because I have been going through this shit with her. Like, I even know one weekend, you know, like I would say, oh, it was one time her daughter had sickle cell once again, and she was like, oh, that's this situation. All right, so let's get into it. It's getting dark. But it was this situation, and her daughter had a sickle cell crisis. And matter of fact, let me back up to how it went. All right, so she was staying with us, and Dante had to do work release. He had a charge that literally, like, he had did some stuff like that he had did like a year or two ago, and then it finally had caught up with him. It came to bite him in his ass. So like he had really had got, I mean, like he never really stopped like doing drugs completely. Like he would stop, but he would never like do it for a long stretch of time. So like he had stuff in control though. Like I guess you could say like functional addict. Like he had these jobs and he was all right. So literally life came back to bite him. What he did in the dark came to the light, and it came to bite him in his ass. He had a warrant out for his arrest. He didn't know. Some shit happened. Still to this day, like I remember him, you know, wanting to feel some type of way about it, and I was just like, you know what, we're gonna let that go because we can't prove it. But I do think somebody told on him, and it wasn't me. I'm not laughing because it's me, but I'm just saying, like, I've spared some niggas, like, because I was just like, I don't want this to go past what it should go past. But I do think somebody retaliated because he had tried to rob a nigga one time, and I think that nigga did kind of something up. Oh well, it's the streets. So but I definitely was like, oh well, we can't prove that, but it did seem suspicious. It seemed very suspicious, but I was distraught that day, blah blah blah. He ended up getting weekend time, but in the midst of that, like, she was staying with us, and she wasn't doing good in school. She was, you know, facing failure. So like we was literally trying to do damage control, and you know, he had convinced her like, why don't you just let her come stay with us? And I remember the first time, yeah, that's why she took her from us. The first time she took her from us because we asked her, could we file her on the taxes? Cause she had literally been there for like the first 6 months. No, I think it was like the last 6 months of the year. And we literally was like, you know, could we file her on the taxes? And that bitch went crazy. Like, that bitch went crazy. She couldn't have an adult conversation about it. She couldn't say no and leave it at that. That bitch started going on Facebook, and I had to go on Facebook and put turtles up there because I'm like, this bitch is slow. All you had to do was say yes or no. Like, can you be a grown-up? Like, bitch, I got my child. I can file her regardless. Like, but your kid, you know, she has been over here. But I was like, you know what? And it was for him. It was for him. So, literally, you know, she went off. Like, she did not have, it wasn't like she said no and then we argued with her. No, this bitch said no and argued with us. And we were like, it was an axe. So then I think she got mad about that and ended up taking her because I think she felt like, oh, well, they might could play hardball if they had her. Never was my intentions. Like, daughter got a whole check and everything, never asked for a dime. Baby, do you. Like, do you. he need to make up for lost time anyway. Like, you do you. Never said nothing. But when people be nasty and they do nasty shit, like, it always come back to you. She did end up getting she did some fuck shit with somebody else, and I guess she played them stupid fucking games with somebody else, and somebody else wasn't so forgiving, and she got caught up for like Medicaid fraud and all that shit from doing stuff with I think she had like a girl collecting benefits saying that she was taking care of Anaya and she wasn't, and I think she didn't play right with that money and that girl turned her in. So when I say like that's not me, that's not my MO. I don't take shit into my hands with like getting people hung up and snagged up with the government and court systems and all that. I don't believe in that. I believe in a higher power, and I believe in just watching shit unfold. And so that did unfold, even though I don't think that was for my situation, but it was interesting to see, and it does play a part in where we're going. So literally that was the first time. That's why she took her back. That situation happened, so I was like, oh cool. you getting the check anyway, so you know, utilize it, because we literally were doing everything on our end. So and I think we should have. I don't think that's a flex. I think we should have. Like, he as a father, if he got her, he should take care of her. So the second time though, he had the work release, and he tells me, he begs me, because I'm like, I'm not dealing with her, because it was the last time I was gonna deal with her, she had me in a situation where she tried to halfway act like she didn't want to come pick this child up, and I had to go to work, and I was like, I'm not dealing with that. Like, and this was when he was locked up, and I was like, I'm just not dealing with your baby mama no more. Like, you gonna have to figure out who gonna help with her, because I can't do it. It's nothing against your child, it's your baby mama. Like, I can't do it. Like, yes, his kid had, you know, she would have little behavior problems and all that stuff, but I think it just simply came from her not getting the attention and the love she needed, and just being confused. Like, she was around a lot of chaos and confusion. So and I did see a decline in her when her and her husband broke up. When her and her husband broke up, like, it was a big decline. And I do know that, like, you know, divorce, which I don't think they legal divorce, but like separation literally can cause that. It was a whole bunch of shit where he had got somebody else pregnant, but then I think the baby ended up not being his. It was just a whole bunch of shit, and I did see a decline in her. Like, I seen a decline. She was always partying and all that stuff, but it just got worse. So like, I definitely think she got like an alcohol problem. My perspective, my opinion, it's all alleged. So literally she the second time he begged me, like, you know, I know you don't want to deal with her, but like, you know, his daughter was basically in a situation where she was getting structured. She was doing better at school. It was better for her. He was like, could you just keep it going until, you know, I get out? He didn't have long. He was doing weekends, and I think it was only for like, no, he wasn't doing weekends. He was doing work release. So he was doing his time, but he was able to come out and work. Excuse me. I misspoke about that. So he was doing work release, and I don't think he had long. It was probably like maybe some months. I can't remember the exact amount, but he doesn't tell her. So he was like, you know, I'm not gonna tell her, because she gonna try to use that and play power games and all that stuff. But he was like, you know, just keep it going as it is, and that's that. So things were going. When he left out of the picture and the dynamic, definitely he had a certain, like, you know how dads are, like, he didn't have to fuss, he ain't have to cuss, he ain't have to do all this shit just to regulate these little girls. These little girls. Like, with me, I have to be like, you know, I feel like I have to raise my voice. I don't necessarily have to cuss. Like, I have to raise my voice, and I have to, you know, be the crazy lady. And and for them to listen to me. So like when he kind of like moved out of the dynamic, I think for his daughter, like she felt like, you know, she wasn't gonna do this work and all this stuff. So I had to get her in alignment once again, just from him being out of the dynamic. Then, unbeknownst to us, her boyfriend at the time, literally her boyfriend at the time, and mind you, like, you know, I never got respect from her for, you know, stepping up to the plate or none of that. Like, this nigga came in the picture and his daughter was ranting and raving about him and was like, yeah, I remember him asking her, like, oh, what do you like about him? And it wasn't even on the fuck shit. Like, he was just like, you know, like, what do you like about him and all that shit. Like, he was gonna figure out who he was anyway, because that's just who he is. Like, if he didn't know him, he was gonna find out about him. So he was like, what do you like about him? Because she would come over and start talking about like her new stepdad who just had came in the picture, and he was like, you know, he told me, he was like, it's weird, she don't even look at you like that. And you've been in her life since she was like 5. And I was like, so the video cut off, but like, yeah, I said like he was literally like, well, you've been in her life since she was little, and like since she was like 5, and she don't even like you. She don't even talk about your ass like that. But he was being funny, and but he was right though, like, cause in her phone, she didn't even have my phone number in that bitch. Like, in her phone, she had him as stepdad, had all these emojis and all that shit. So we was like, oh, her mama must really like this one. And so we were being childish. We two adults being childish with each other, but not with her around. So I do feel like her mom would have conversations about us with her around. And so, do I want that one on? Or do I want that one on? I don't know which one I want on. But anyway, so like, I feel like her mom would have conversations about us with her around, and that's fine to daddy. I don't care. So he asked her, like, you know, like, what do you like about him? And she was like, oh, because when he came, he took us to get like chips and candy. And he was like, oh damn. So then he had a conversation with me, and he was like, oh, so like literally she has conditioned her to look at how niggas treat her by, you know, what they buy her, and then she's selling her short because like some fucking candy and some chips. And I think by this age, you know, she was like in the 6th or 7th grade. Which it's gonna take more from my child. It's like, and I'm not being funny, but it just is. So you ain't gonna be able to hot Cheeto her. So literally we was having conversations with her, mostly focused around like school and like trying to just like education wise, and it ain't even just school, but just what you got in your brain. And our focus was more of like getting her up to par for this life, this world. And her mama would make remarks like, you know, I be having conversations with her, I don't want her to be like just the regular girl. I want her to be the popular girl. Like, I don't want her to be like the ones that you don't know. And it was just like a very fucked up like mentality. Once again, I don't judge her. It comes from some deep-rooted shit, that some cycle breaking that needs to be done. I guess she ain't the one to do it. Maybe her daughter will be the one to do it. So, back to the story, and I'm going to try to make the story shorter so I can go eat and pray and cleanse myself of this energy. So, he gets the time. We prepare our household for it, which she was in the household at the time. We have a talk with both the kids, let them know, you know, this is what's happening. And we tell her, you know, don't lie to your mama, but if your mama, you know, like, just don't tell her like that he was locked up. So anyway, it backfired because he shouldn't have told her not to tell anyway. But it ended up backfiring because this is how the universe works. Literally, her baby daddy, well, her husband that she separated from, he ended up being locked up. They weren't on the same tier, but he ended up being locked up at the same time. And the boyfriend ended up being locked up at the same time doing work release also. So I think he was, yeah. So like, yeah, they weren't on the same tier, so they didn't get to talk much, but through the glass. And but I think they ran to each other once or something like that. And but the baby daddy, no, the boyfriend was literally on the same tier, and so he just telling all this girl business. He telling all this girl business to Dante. Like, he telling it all. Like, he told the story about how, like, the baby daddy, like, the husband had, the boys wanted, like, a PlayStation, and she told the husband that the boys wanted a PlayStation. The boys then told the husband they wanted a PlayStation. The husband can't get the PlayStation. He brings an Xbox. She takes the Xbox and throw this bitch on the ground while her sons are watching, right in front of this man. After he done probably did whatever he could to get this Xbox, and told him they fucking said they wanted a PlayStation. They don't want this shit. And so, like, this is the only reason I'm telling this is not to, like I said, I don't tell these stories to, like, make people look bad. I'm telling the truth as I know it. And I'm telling you so you can get a context of the type of ungratefulness she teaches to her children. So, and she's taught this to her daughter. Her daughter literally, I wasn't there, but this is another story that I know to be the truth only from what it was told to me. They haven't been quiet, they didn't lie. Like, she does lie. So I haven't been told lies from them, so I'm gonna take their word for it. But like, there was a time where he over to his family's house, and they bought her Christmas present. They had another, which would be her cousin, and his niece. She had got something totally different, and threw her toy down on the ground and had a little fit. And so it was like, but this is the behavior I feel like she taught her. So I literally said all that to say, like, he ended up telling him about the situation with her getting caught for the Medicaid fraud. So he telling the whole story about blah blah blah, and I just gave you a snippet from what I can remember. But she got caught up on that, and she was gonna have to do time. So she never told us. So you got everybody over here hiding what the fuck going on in their little situations, and she never told us that she facing this jail time or nothing like that. But she was going back and forth to court, so she was trying to wait to see what it actually was going to be. But she never communicated that she was facing this jail time. Imagine when she found out that, what the hell is that? Oh, when she found out that he had let me cut this part right now. When she found out that he had got jail time, that's when she took her daughter back out of the stability that she was given. And imagine, once again, like, this is just me. He was doing it, me, we was working as a team, and then when he was out of the picture, I was doing it by myself. So that meant I was coming from Church Hill, taking her all the way to the south side to go to school, and blah, 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 blah. Didn't even complain. That wasn't even my issue. My issue was I didn't want to be taken advantage of or played with by his baby mama because she played games. So she called me once she found out that he doing weekend time, and she was like, yeah, I just want to get her, because she was doing good in school. She had really, like, pulled her grades up. Like, it was like night and day. And she was like, I just want to reward her for doing good, and I want to get her this phone, so I'm gonna come get her this weekend. I'm not her mama, so, like, I can't tell you no. So I'm just like, it's cool with me. Like, I'll let Dante know, and you get your child. And she was like, she told me she was gonna bring her back. But once again, it's not my place. So, like, that part, I never felt like it's my place to be like, oh, well, Dante said this and this. I ain't never do that shit with her. So what I was just like, okay, that's your child. And I was just like, I'll let Dante know, like, on some shit like that. And so she came and got the child. Soon as she got this girl back, I tell you, a week later, school called. She never brought her back. That was number one. She never brought her back. But the school called. Soon as she got the girl back, school call was letting me know that, like, she basically the teacher, basically his daughter was in class, and she was talking and playing, and she told her, like, you know, you need to stop playing, and, you know, matter of fact, I'm gonna call your daddy, like, you know, like, I'm gonna get her straight like that. And it usually would work. So, did you know, like, this girl who told these people in the school, she was like, I don't care, you can call my daddy, like, he ain't nothing but a deadbeat anyway, and he in jail. And so I'm like, she's a kid. I looked at it like she was a kid. I'm like, she probably, you know, heard her mama say some stupid ass shit on her end. She old enough to know, you know, like, what being in jail is and what a deadbeat is. And so, like, I'm like, regardless of why she said it, what she did it for, I was like, you know what, this is crazy. Like, but she's a kid. I really don't care about her. It sounded like her mama was talking shit. Mind you, your mom is facing jail time too. So I think that's really what she was upset about. Like, I think both of her parents being like where does that leave me? So I think, like, she was acting out, then she back into the toxic environment. So she literally just started acting out and being herself. So I had to make that conversation with him, because, like, we would see each other in the mornings and at night when I had to drop him back off. So, because he was working, so I would get to take him and then drop him back off at the jail. So, like, I had to have a conversation with him. And I was lying back then. Like, I told them teachers, like, oh, I don't know what she talking about, her daddy ain't in jail. But I'm like, I don't know, I kept up with image, and I was like, she over here embarrassing the fuck out of us. But in all actuality, I look back at that, like, and it probably was very stressful for her to know all these things. She was a child. Not only does she know that her daddy's in jail, she know her mom is probably gonna go in jail next. So literally, it was a lot on her. But he took it as, like, she was being, you know, disloyal, like, where the fuck that shit was coming from, and, like, you can say all that shit behind my back, but you can't say it in my face, and all that stuff. And, like, he literally had to sit down with her. He told her, like, you know, it's fucked up that, you know, as soon as I was out the picture, your mom took you out of the situation that you was actually, like, thriving in, and now you back to, you know, your bullshit. And, like, he had a conversation about, like, you know, say that shit to my face. Like, if you could say it behind my back, you could say it in my face if that's what you really feel, because I've always given you space to tell me what you need or what you want from me, you know. And if you got animosity towards me, like, we need to talk about this shit. Like, so what you say to them teachers, you need to say to me, and, like, we can have a conversation about this. And so she literally had a processing skill set where she would shut down. I think I would have shut down with that man talking to me as a child. So, like, but she was really fragile. She was really fragile emotionally, and she was shut down. So literally, you know, he told her, like, you don't have to come back to the house. Like, you literally can be with your mama. Like, ain't nobody holding you here. We doing this for the benefit of you, and you could be with your mom. It was from a place of a lot of ego and hurt and all that shit. Like, I think his feelings was hurt, and he just basically, he didn't tell her he was giving up on her, but he just basically let her know, like, you know, you got it. You and your mama got it. You don't have to come over here. You don't got to come to the house, because she had told the teachers that we was strict, and we was too strict over there and all that. Like, she was talking shit about us to the teachers. I'll get to that. So, like, literally, all right, so when that situation happened and the teachers called and let us know what happened at the school, she revoked permission from both of us to be contacted. Like, at first, you know, they could talk to me and talk to him. She revoked permission for them to contact us. She revoked permission for them to contact us. They could not talk to us. They could not reach out to us. And I know they could have legally, like, he could have gotten back, you know, to do it because he was a legal father. However, because he was in jail, he was just like, I'm not even going, you know, she got it. If this what she want, you know, we done did this before, and at the same time, she did it once again. She done pulled her out, ripped her out of their structure, and he was like, it's all right, it's all cool, and left it like that. Mind you, before we got to this point, one day, the boyfriend that was locked up in work release, she wanted him to come. She wanted me to pick him up, take him to work when I took Dante to work. And it was like, bitch, I'm already taking your child to school. now you want me to take your man to school? So like, you want me to take care of your child and your man. And mind you, she knew that Dante was out the picture. He was in work release, because she knew that, like, that's why she asked him to ask, could I take him to work, because they worked at the same place. So like, this shit is just crazy. Like, it just was crazy how it lined up, and they worked at the same place, and that particular time, like, they had the same shift. So she just thought like I was gonna take her, I was gonna be Miss Daisy for the kid, and I was gonna be, so I was taking her daughter to school, picking her up, and then I was gonna take your man to work and pick him up. Bitch, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? So I was like, Dawson, like, nah, we gonna do that. And he was like, yeah, no, I already know, just do it for today. I was like, because I'm not gonna be doing this. What's she gonna do? I'm already, you take it, I gotta get up extra early to take you, and then I gotta get up and take these kids to school. Nah, we ain't gonna do that. She gotta do something. So that was one right there. Then she calls and says that the hospital, she's having a crisis. Mind you, she had took her out of the household by now. So she had said she was at the hospital, she having a crisis, and the girls that she's with, she don't really feel like they competent enough to be there. Like, she didn't use that word, but she just felt like they wasn't the ones that needed to be there to talk to the doctors and know what's going on. Mind you, I've said it clearly, like, you know, no, I won't there every single crisis, but like, it wasn't abnormal for me to go and be there while she was having a crisis. So I literally was like, Charlotte had a test too that next morning, like, and we had been preparing for this test and all that shit. Like, it was late, and I went against my will, but it was my love for their daughter that I went, because I was like, I don't want her to be up there. And I know she miss her mama, and I know she want, you know, somebody to be there. So I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. So I had to wake my fucking child up out her sleep and take my child to the hospital when she had a test in the morning, and sit with this child. Do you know, like, during this time, I wasn't on social media a lot. Like, literally, I probably had like 5 posts on social media. This was before COVID, and I literally, I wasn't on social media like that. Like, I had the accounts, but I wasn't posting on those apps and stuff like that. So it was really rare for me to like really be on social media, but I was in the hospital and I was bored. I ain't had nothing to like occupy my mind, and so I'm pulling out my phone and looking at Instagram, and guess who the fuck I see at the bar? Guess who I see at the bar? Literally had the date on the picture. She had the date that we were on the picture. Like, not the actual day, but she had like the day of the week that we were on the picture. And I do know that people like will pretend and post pictures like they doing something and all that shit. But who the fuck pretends and post a picture that they at the bar while their daughter like is at the hospital? Like, she literally posted the picture while you got me at the hospital with your daughter. So, mind you, not only do you have me at the hospital with your daughter treating me nasty, because you probably been talking shit about me and her dad and my kid. You probably been talking shit about us. And so now she in the hospital treating me nasty, telling me straight up she want her mother. So I'm like, you know what? I get on the phone. I'm pissed off. Like, I am pissed off. I can't tell this nigga what's going on, because we can't talk, because the phone, like, he don't have, you know, I can't call him. Like, so I'm just pissed off. I'm livid. And mind you, my mom and my family and my friends have been telling me to stop doing what the fuck I was doing. Like, they was like, you doing too much. She fucked up. She using you. She taking advantage of you. And unfortunately, you gonna have to say, you know, toodaloo to the kid. But I just kept saying, like, you know, I'm only doing this for the kid. And it was hard for me to make that detachment. But after that day, I made the detachment. And it got worse, too. So, no, it wasn't even after that day. It transpired. It's still the same situation, but it took some processing. So I literally was like, I got on the phone with her and I was like, you're gonna have to come up here. She wants her mom and she don't want nobody else but her mom, so you need to come up here and be with your child. And I did it stern and left it like that. And she was like, oh well, can you wait? She said, can you wait, because I gotta take her boyfriend back to the jail. So she was like, yeah, I now left my charger at work, so I gotta go get my charger, and then I gotta take him to the jail. So she was like, well, can you just wait till then, and then I'll come get her. So then, like, I'm telling you, it took so long that the hospital released you, and you know, if the hospital has released you and all that shit, like, it took a long time. So by the time the hospital had released her, we at home, and she comes and get her. So she comes and get her, and leave it at that. Mind you, we continue to that. So she done took her out. I think she finally gets wind of, so this situation, so that happened first. And then, like, I think, because I can't keep up with this, and I don't know if I posted a video about this, but we're gonna do this again. But the details don't really matter that much. It's the situations. It's the situations. So I don't know when came what, but I do know, like, okay, that situation happened where she had me at the hospital and she was at the bar. She then gets this nigga to lie to my nigga and tell my nigga that, oh, she posted a picture. It was an old picture. She wasn't at the bar during that time because she was taking me to work. And I'm like, but I called her and you wasn't in the car, because she literally told me she had to go get her charger. So when she posted this picture, she literally wasn't with you. So you still don't know if she was at the bar. Shut the fuck up, simp. And like, I literally was talking to Dante like this. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. Like, don't don't bring that shit over here, because, like, that's not how that happened. And so, like, of course, he know if I'm pissed off, like, she didn't cross the motherfucking line, because it takes a lot, and definitely when it comes with kids. And I don't mean when it comes to kids, I mean when it's like kids are involved, like, it's hard for me to detach, but not no more. So he literally, like, you know, he pissed off about this situation, and then you know, all this other stuff started happening with her in school and all that stuff. And so then I know when he had the conversation with her at school about the school situation, I know she ended up calling and it was like, y'all giving up and all this stuff. But this comes with, she ends up calling me and saying that what she said? No, she ends up texting me and was like, you know, can you get, you know, she called her nickname, which is like the nickname from Martin, with Shanae best friend. She calls her that, like, and but she was like, can you get her? And I was like, nah, I ain't gonna be able to get her. I'm going out with my friends this weekend. And I straight the fuck lied. I just wanted the nerd to know, like, bitch, the same way you feel like you supposed to have a life is the same way I'm gonna have my life. It's pretending, bitch. It's pretending. No, I'm not getting your child. I'm not. You need to watch your own child, and because your child was already here. And I didn't say all this at that moment, but, like, I definitely sent a vibe, like, no, like, straight up no. I'm going out with my friends this weekend. Like, won't going nowhere. But now I would literally tell somebody, no, I'm not doing it, and I'm free. Like, I'm free. But back then it was just like I was being petty and spiteful, like, because the girl was already here. It was already a structure. It was always running. It was smooth. You fucked all this up. And now that you know that you gotta go to jail now for sure, like, you trying to set it up so that she can come back to the house. But you didn't care that you had took her out of the house and we were used to her being here. You didn't say that, hey, you know, like, I'ma just get her back. I do feel like because she was in my care, like, it should have been a real adult conversation that, like, you was taking her back, whether it was with me or him. But you just jerked her out. You caused all this chaos, confusion, and bullshit. And now because you can't take care of her, you can't have a conversation and say, hey, look, I'm getting this time. Can you watch her? You know, can you have her again? Like, none of this was verbalized or nothing like that. So you just tell me, can I get her this weekend? So I tell you no. No, first of all, I ignored you for a little while. Then I tell you no. So then you get mad and you call my nigga. You don't get mad and you come talk to me. You get mad and you call my nigga and try to make my nigga watch your child. Make me watch your child. Like, so I'm in the car. I don't know if she know I was in the car, but she calls him and She mad. You giving up on her, and like y'all giving up on her, and that's not right, and she a child, and all this shit. And he was like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm in work release. I can't watch her. If Latifah can't watch her, she can't watch her. Like, what are you talking about? Nah, because she told me you had a talk with her, which the talk was like a couple of days ago. So you just now responding to this, but you literally, what you're really mad about is that you text me, I didn't respond to you right away, and then when I did respond, you didn't get the answer you wanted. And instead of you being a woman and calling me, because you can't call me and make me watch your fucking child, you try to call him and make him guilt me into watching your child, and that's not how that work over here, sweetheart. It's not how that work over here, sweetheart. I wasn't watching your child out of guilt for him, or out of guilty love for him or you. I loved your fucking child. I watched your child because I loved her. It had nothing to do with you two idiots. It had nothing to do with you two idiots. So like, and I say that respectfully, God rest his soul, but he know how I talk. And so literally, I do feel like both parties are both parents in this situation had some trauma and some cycle breaking that they needed to do that they were unfortunately not able to do for her. I do feel like at least he wanted to. At least he wanted to, and at least he tried to make steps to do it. And when he couldn't do it, he tried to get others to help, and he didn't do it like she did. But anyway, she ends up cussing him out, and so like I'm in the car and I hear this shit and I'm like, bitch, who the fuck you think you talking to? Like, cause you're not talking to my nigga. Like, if you really want to talk to somebody about it, like, cause all these years I held it in. I've never cussed this bitch out. I've never said a fucked up thing to her. And I think she took that as like I was weak or I would not handle her. And so like my breaking point was like, you really mad with me. You need to be on the phone talking to me. Don't talk to him. This nigga on work release. He can't watch her. And I'm not on work release and I'm not gonna watch her. And so she literally, you know, we got into it. I told her she can come meet with me and I can whoop her ass, but I'm not gonna do this arguing on the phone. She went and wanted to call him so many crackheads, and I'm like, bitch, it's the wrong choice. He do dope. Like, and I'm not, you know, I'm not naive to a bitch. Like, what the fuck? I done had to buy for him before, like, so he wouldn't be sick. Like, what are you fucking talking about? Like, I'm not an idiot. I'm not naive to this. Like, try again. Can you please try again? Because whatever me and him got going on, like, me and him know each other. Like, I'm not naive to what he got going on in his life and his situation. Like, try again, ma'am. But what you don't know is that I know your dumb ass about to be locked up, and that's what you're really mad about. And so that's what you really need to worry about. Like, you should have just humbled yourself and asked me, could the child come back over, because you are about to do time again. So I was like, we just had this back and forth, and I was just like, I'm not arguing with you no more. You can either come and fight and whatever and whatever. And so I blocked her because I'm like, I'm not doing this arguing shit. You know, whatever. Because of that whole situation and how it went down, she never let that man see his child like for like a whole year. I think the child went to go live with her godmama. She burnt the bridge with that, and she just burned the bridges with everybody, like not picking the child up on time, not picking, you know, just being nasty, using people. And I just couldn't take it no more. I really didn't care. I did have to humble myself and apologize to her so that he could really start seeing his kid again, because she really didn't want him to see his kid because of me and her arguing about some shit that she tried to force me to watch her kid. And it had nothing to do about him. It was about you trying to force another fucking woman who didn't have your kid to watch your kid when she already was watching your kid, and you wanted to play power plays and do what the fuck you wanted to do, and had the nerve enough to tell me that literally I had overstepped my boundaries because I spoke out. Like, I'm not Anaya's mom, and like, what the fuck I got to do with you her talking to him? But literally you had texted me, bitch, if I'm not a parental figure, or if I'm not a part of the village, why were you texting me to watch her? Like, why? Why did you come back and circle back around? And she did want me to come. I forgot about that. She did want the girl to start coming back around, but she never verbalized why. So I just told her, like, I got enough on my plate. I can't. But if she would have came to me and told me why, like, I would have let her come back. But I wasn't gonna be used. Like, you all could just drop this shit off on me, and you ain't telling me how long it's gonna be that I'm gonna be watching her and all that shit. So she had came back and asked me could Anaya come and stay again, and I had told her no. I forgot about that. That probably definitely pissed her off. But it didn't like make her explode until I told her I wasn't gonna watch her that weekend. Like, that's when it was like, oh. But yeah, like, I feel like she played too many games. It was done for me when she had me in the hospital watching her child and she was out at the bar drinking. That did it for me. That really did it for me. Just the in and out, just the, like, I know she would talk about us. Her daughter would come back and tell us. Her daughter would talk about her, and I'd tell her daughter to, like, that's your mom. Like, I would just nip that shit in the bud. I wouldn't sit up there and have conversations about, you know, her mama, even though I felt some type of way. She would post shit on Facebook about how, like, she had the daughter driving her from the club while she was drunk, and all kinds of foul, fucked up shit. And she would thought it was cute and funny and all that. I just dissociated. I cut ties. I was like, you know, that's your kid. If she ever do come back over, I'm gonna treat her, you know, with respect. But I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. Like, I can treat her with love and respect, but I'm not involving myself that deeply with her parent being like that. Saying all of this, I wanted to get that out because I'm wounded from that. I am wounded from, like, I invested a lot of love and time and attention, and then, like, just to reflect back on it and, like, just know that, like, I was just a pawn in someone's silly game. It hurts, and it's like, I don't want to ever be in that situation with nobody else and their kids. So, like, definitely if a person has kids, like, that's gonna be major for me, is to, like, have a talk with both of the parents about, like, what this role should be, because I don't want to overstep no boundaries, and I don't want to be misused. I want to be utilized. I love kids. I would love to be I'm gonna have to be a part of the village. Like, I'm gonna have to be a part of it, and just knowing what that looks like to them and myself. And so I do know and realize that, like, I can't base that situation off of situations to come. It is an experience. I can see it coming in someone else if it is in them, but that doesn't mean that every situation is going to be like that. And so it's been a deep purge of trying to let that trauma go, because this is not even everything. This is just from what, you know, really, really pissed me off. But there was a lot of instances of shit that I never spoke on. Like, I never spoke on it, and I guess because I didn't speak on it, she felt like she had one, but she really didn't know what she was dealing with or who she was dealing with. And a lot of people gotta stop that shit. Like, you gotta stop trying to take advantage of people who you deem weak, when literally they are way stronger than you are. They literally they foolish. And I'm talking about myself. I was foolish for allowing her to, you know, get away and behave like she did. But I did it all the strength that I loved her child. I do pray that, you know, her child honors the love that her father wanted to give her, that he was able to give her. I hope she's able to grow and realize that her father wanted the best for her, because a lot of times her mom painted a picture that her dad wants shit and that he didn't love her and he didn't care about her. But her dad cared about her overall well-being. He cared about what direction she was going in life. He cared about what she was putting in her head. He cared about her being a functional member of society. Like, her mom literally used to tell her that she was gonna die. Like, she used to come crying to me and be like, yeah, I feel like I'm, you know, like, I know I'm gonna die, I'm not gonna make it, because she told her she wasn't gonna make it past a certain age. I'm like, why is you telling her this? You ain't even making her take her medicine, but you telling her the life expectancy of the average sickle cell patient. Like, I was like, it'll be just her luck I used to tell her that, like, if you keep living life based on that you're gonna die at a certain age, I said it'll be just your luck. You be one of the sickle cell patients that live to you like 50 something, and you just been collecting the SSI check. And this was by the time she got older, because I'm like, we gotta keep it real with you, like, because her mama telling her she gonna get the check. Like, that check doesn't take care of nothing. The baseline money of what they're gonna get you for SSI, because if you don't work, you're not gonna get disability. So if you're doing the SSI way, that check not gonna buy you nothing. Like, you gonna have to find somebody to live with, and maybe you can have a pair of Jordans, but that check ain't hitting on nothing. So we used to have to really tell her the reality of things, and then you'd end up being the person that'll live to you about like 50, 60, and you had to struggle off a SSI check. You just don't want to bank on that. And it was literally women that I knew that had sickle cell, and I actually had a cousin that had sickle cell, and her parent was proactive with her medicines, proactive with her diet, and she's living a beautiful life. Yes, she has crisis, but it's not that often, and she had other children with sickle cell as well. So but yeah, she's living a beautiful life. And yes, it's hard sometimes, and yes, it's complicated sometimes, but it's not as hard as the life she's had to live. And I've seen grown-up women who literally run their own business. They do this, they do that, they work regular jobs, and they're living with sickle cell, and they're not just collecting a check. And so I'm not saying that everybody who has sickle cell shouldn't have to collect a check. Like, whatever your situation is, your situation. I'm saying it's fucked up when parents paint these pictures of how your life gonna be, and they don't realize that that's what they're doing to you when you're very young. Calling her slow over and over again. The girl won't slow. Guess what? Every time she would get sick in the hospital and miss days from school, the people literally, I started to see this because you would ask for me to come to the hospital and sit with your child. So I literally would see where the people from the school that's connected with the hospital for kids, like, they literally would come back and have paper where she would just need to sign it. All she would need to do is sign it, and they would have did school with her daughter at the hospital, and that way she wouldn't have been missing days from school. She wouldn't have been missing content. Not content, but, like, she wouldn't have been missing her education completely. And so, but she wouldn't even sign the paper. The paper would be underneath the goddamn wash pan. And she literally could have set up a 504 plan or some type of plan with her daughter just because she has sickle cell, and trying to get, accommodations for her just because this is a thing. She never tried to do that. She just called this girl slow. Girl won't slow. Just like I don't think she's really actually slow, even though I like calling her slow. I don't think she's really actually slow. I just think no one actually took the time up with her and nourished her, loved her, and took the time to make her enjoy education. So because she hated school, she's perpetuating that shit on her kids, and perpetuating stuff on her kids that, was taught to her. So I just don't want that shit coming with me in my future. So I wanted to release it and let it go, and get it out of my fucking system. Say my piece with it. I still to this day love my stepchild. I still do. If I gotta love her from a distance, that's what I'm gonna do. But I'm not putting myself in jeopardy of fucked up cycles and getting my feelings hurt and all that shit. I'm not doing it no more. So that's that. I got some healing to do in that area, and there really are some treacherous, and I believe in it. I believe that it is far greater to have a toxic mother that you're living with than to have an absent father. And it plays a lot. That does not get these fucked up men off the hook. I don't like them. I really don't. And I'm just not gonna give deadbeat parents any more of my energy anymore. So I just wanted to get this one off my chest. I think in all actuality, just because you have the ability to have children don't mean you should. Don't mean you should, but I do believe in God, and we're all meant to be here for some type of fucking reason. So gotta go with that. I just hope going forward that I continue to allow a village to be a village. I'm working on it, you guys. I'm working on it. I'm continuing to allow a village to be a village, and I also am aligned with, if I do have a person who has children from previous relationships, that they have mothers to their children that have some sense and that are loving and want the best for their children and will allow me to be a part of loving their child. I don't need to be the mother. You be the mother. I be the extra mother. I be the extra mother. That's it. Like, I just want to love the kid. I don't want all that extra shit. Like, shit. Look, I'll be there for you too. Like, I'll be there for you too, because that's just who I am. That's how I am. Like, but I couldn't do that with her for the most part because she would take advantage. So I literally want, if the man has, you know, baby mamas or whatever, exes, ex-wife, whatever, like anything that is a previous from me, that it is in order. He has his life in order, and the people that he chose to procreate with are in order. Like, y'all are in order, and there is a symbiotic relationship amongst all of us, because I ain't competing with nobody. I'm not coming in no pictures to misuse or mistreat nobody, and I don't want to be used and mistreated. And that's my main goal, is to focus on me not being misused and mistreated, because I am very loving, and I'm definitely working on me not having to be manipulative, because I can't get my needs met by verbalizing it. So that means I have to talk and speak up and identify with what I need. I don't know why all that's coming out, but we're gonna end it there. I just don't want that shit coming into the healthy relationships I had, so I wanted to get it out.